or a computer failure took out your bank, or all the banks for that matter, are your banking records safe in your hands? So when they get things fixed and repaired, you can say, hey, look, this is what I had. You have it. I want it back. Is your personal data safe? Family records, addresses, phone numbers? Well, squeeze on over to freedomslips.com. Yes, that's www.freedomslips.com. Click the banner on the homepage for the EMP-proof bullet drive to get the full scoop of everything that we offer. So, folks, keep your data safe for your peace of mind. Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. You don't need to expect us. We're already here.
This is the people's war. It is our war. We are the fighters. Fight it then. Fight it with all that is in us. And may God defend the right.
Warning, warning.
We gotta stop them! They're gonna kill us all!
See how the trouble you've started?
Be they the government, be they industry, be they organized labor, be they anyone, or human beings. Time when the operation of the machine becomes so odious, makes you so sick at heart that you can't take part. You can't even passively take part. And you've got to put your bodies upon the gears and upon the wheels, upon the levers, upon all the apparatus, and you've got to make it stop. And you've got to indicate to the people who run it, to the people who own it, that unless you're free, the machine will be prevented from working at all.
Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, the #1 listener-supported talk radio station, throwing ourselves upon the gears of the machine. Revolution Radio, where information never sleeps.
You called down the thunder, well now you got it.
Right, you tell them I'm coming, and hell's coming with me, you hear? Hell's coming with me!
Revolution Radio. All right, thanks for listening while we took that short break here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. And now we're going to get back to your host.
My name's Jimmy. It's Monday. It's Revolution Radio. And Into the Microcosm is on the air. That's right. We're on the air, ladies and gentlemen, on a Monday, February 8th, 2021. I'm your narrator. My name's Jimmy. And I got a tough one to talk about today. It's going to be tough, ladies and gentlemen, for me to talk about it. And I hope we can get some stuff out on the table tonight. Take a look at it. It's going to be uncomfortable.
I wanna be the gangster, I wanna be the dapper Don John on the wall. I said, now I'm your biggest fan next to my little brother Paul. He's losing his grip, man, like Pesci, he flip. And you talk to his brother, said he always met his trip. He was an okie dokie, run around like Nakiochi, trying to free a man. He didn't even know he had the roots, and he bought the suits, and the boys didn't like him, to tell you the truth. Yeah, he had JG on his pinky ring, and he lied about doing some time up at Sing Sing. Flipped one fine summer afternoon, told his brother Paulie something had to be done soon. He took Paulie and a couple of boys and decked the Coupe de Ville to Illinois. Lottie Dottie, free John Gotti. Lottie Dottie, Lottie Dottie, free John Gotti. The king of New York, the king of New York. Lottie Dottie, free John Gotti. Lottie Dottie, Lottie Dottie, free John Gotti. The king of New York, man, the king of New York. He got a clip from a stripper he met at a club. 2 sticks of dynamite and a 38 snub. He went to see the Don without an invitation. I said the
Joining QAnon is easy because at its core there are some truths. Like, the media really does lie to you. There really are powerful predators out there, and there really is a global pedophile ring that ritually abuses kids. But as you follow Q's droppings, you'll gradually LARP yourself deep into the rabbit's rectum, where you'll find others who yearn to fight injustice just like you. The 5G crew, the Plandemic crowd, the FEMA camps, and chemtrail folks too. All LARP together into a single LARP we can control. Where we LARP one, we LARP all. In exchange for all this entertainment and newfound sense of purpose, all we ask for in return is your help. No, you fucking idiots, not to arrest Hillary. You see, we have no intention of ceding power at this election. So if it looks like we're winning on election night, we'll declare victory, even though millions of votes are still being counted. And if we're losing, we'll declare the election rigged. Either way, that's your cue to get in the streets and prevent further mail-in ballots from being counted. Just like what happened in Florida when rioters shut down the recount of the 2000 election. Among those rioters was this fuckwit, the same one who is now urging us to declare martial law should be...
Gonna creep if you don't take a little more care. You're gonna get more than the family plan from this once you stray. I'm in a prison, but I can't contemplate being trapped between the doctor and the magistrate. One of these days I'm gonna pay it back and pay it back on one of these days. One of these days I'm gonna pay it back.
So, the industrial truth media complex is the discussion we're going to be having today. And like I said, my name's Jimmy. I'm your creative narrator of the so-called reality that we all seem to be knee-deep in with no potential way out. The sewer has overflowed. There doesn't seem to be a space of dry land that I'm not standing in a puddle of turds in the punch bowl. Nothing but turds in the punch bowl. I don't see any light at the end of the tunnel. All I see is black pills and disemboweled patriotic Americans laying on the battlefield of truth. The thing about it is, now, for me, just in case you're new to the end of the microcosm, show's been on the air for, a little over 4 years or so. We've been here at Revolution Radio for about a year and a half. So prior to being here, we did a bunch of work. And prior to being on the air, I was involved in doing, research and helping out other shows with their projects and their presentations. And, so I got into doing researching mostly when I was sick. Hang on a second here. Let me bring Brandy in. Brandy Lou, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Excellent.
Ready to roll and take a dive.
Sweet. Well, listen, so, when I originally got into this stuff, I was sick, okay? And so I was flat on my back and I was in bed and I had nothing to do all day. And I had started listening to the Alex Jones show. Now, did you listen to Alex Jones when you first started out in the truth complex, Brandy?
No, actually, he wasn't my catalyst. Kev Baker was my catalyst.
Well, that's good. That's good. Well, that's really good. Because seems to be this mold that happens down in Austin, Texas. So, people are created there because a lot of times, before as people, we learned about any of this stuff and we were just living our lives, going about things as though, they were as we thought they were. A lot of times what happens is you find out some information that you didn't know before, and it opens your eyes, and then you keep coming back because you're just literally blown away by what you're hearing, what you're seeing, and the information that's being put forward. So people develop an intense addiction to the truth movement or the industrial truth complex. There's literally billions of dollars being made off this complex each year, off prepping, selling gold, you name it, clicks, ads all over YouTube. I mean, if you added it all up, I'm sure it's literally billions of dollars. And it seems, Brandy, it seems like when you start out, you go over there and you go down the road there and you find out about all this stuff that's going on, and then you find out about the evil secret societies, and then you find out about the blood guzzling Satanists, and then you find out about the chemtrails, and then you find about the BPA and the plastics, you know, and then you find out about the fluoride, and then you find out about the vaccines, and so it's almost like a curriculum, you might say. In other words, you get an education when you come on the internet looking for the truth. You're going to find the truth. You're going to find the truth, ladies and gentlemen. And unfortunately, the truth isn't always very pretty, is it, Brandy?
No, it can get really dark and really ugly getting that education and the truth.
It's about as dark and ugly as it gets, and you know, to be somebody who's involved in the industrial complex of providing information, you find yourself, like I said earlier, immersed in a whole world of shit, just like it was said in Full Metal Jacket. Because this truth has no positive ramifications in a person's life, because unfortunately, once you learn about these heinous truths, you also find out that you're just being steamrolled by the system, and there's absolutely nothing you can do to stop it. It doesn't matter what you think about any of it. Your opinion doesn't matter. What you think, if it's real or if it isn't real, it doesn't matter, because there's a critical path for humanity, and we're moving down that path. So knowing about this information doesn't do anything. It's like you're swimming in a sea, and this information is nothing more than a weight around your neck. Literally. It does nobody any good. I've asked many people in this business, and it is a business. I've asked many people in this business, has learning any of this information ever done you one bit of good? And every single person I ask says no, unless they happen to get on the Bitcoin when it first dropped. Brandy, has this information ever done anything any good for you?
It's funny because you've actually never asked me that before. But I would say it has, in the sense that, like I just put in the chat room, the truth lies somewhere in between what's told and what isn't told. So it has helped me to understand I need to be aware. I can research, but I can't, obviously, you know, we cannot believe just everything we read or hear or see. And I did realize that going in, and I still do realize there is some of it that can be helpful, taken with a grain of salt. And if it's something I can apply and it helps me in my life, that's great. But if it isn't helping me, then no. It's kind of just a waste of time, don't you think?
I do, and I think there's a big difference between the ultimate goal of truth and facts along the way. Facts may be true, but the overall idea behind whatever the speculation is completely and utterly not true. And there's, okay, so, you know, like I was saying, let's walk back a little bit, back around 2012 area, back in there, 2011, 2012, the whole Alex Jones, Ron Paul movement that happened. There really was an organic thing that happened there. People were really motivated, and this was really a moment in time when the truth industrial complex really got a big influx of new people. Because this was right at the beginning of, I mean, realistically, this is probably the hottest time in the alternative media, was right around that time, because you were coming up on the 2012 end of the world scenario. And so you had a lot of drum beating up until the point. But there was this thing that happened, and there was this document that they were passing around called the NIAC report. And basically, the NIAC report was a report that was put out, and it was basically declaring domestic terrorists from Ron Paul supporters, people who said they were sovereign citizens. There was whole presentations given out on this NIAC report that were released on the internet. Okay, these were classes that were being held by this police department that had put out this report. And so when this stuff started happening for me, I started to come to the realization then that it started to look fishy to me. All of a sudden, you know, I started to get this inkling, Brandy, that this at some point was going to, this whole machination was at some point going to be turned back around on the same people that Alex Jones was generating from his information down in Austin, Texas. That the people that were coming out of there were all going out and getting on the radio, and they were starting blogs, and he had this whole new army that came out. And then subsequently, all these little pyramids formed under each one of those little nodes that came out from Alex Jones. And the footprint, you know, basically spread as far as the quote-unquote patriot community was concerned. So you had this whole thing start to develop where people started to call themselves patriots again through the Jones operation down there, and nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being a patriot, and there's nothing wrong with seeking the truth, and there's nothing wrong with any of it. But the thing is, Brandy, the thing is that it's a little darker than that, because I think there is a distinct connection between this information and radicalization of individuals. Individuals being able to be radicalized to a point where they'll commit acts that are, you know, not necessarily very good for people in general. So that's a problem. And so the reason I'm bringing all this up, and we're going to talk about this tonight, is there's a movie called Gray State, ladies and gentlemen. It was a movie. It was getting made back around this period of time that I'm talking about. And Brandy, last night, you had a chance to take a look a little bit at this movie. Now, I can't really play the trailer for you, ladies and gentlemen. For the most part, the trailer is visual. It is a super highly produced, well thought out trailer of this particular individual's idea of what might transpire in the near future. And so, Brandy, come on in a little bit and just let me get a little bit of feel about how you felt about the movie, what you saw there, because there's a lot there, and I'll tell the story here in a minute. But I wanted you to jump in and just give me a feel about exactly how that movie really resonated with you internally. What did you feel when you saw it emotionally?
Well, it was very ominous and very dark and deep, and it felt like a pathway to what we're headed into. And I know that there's, you know, for many years, maybe not by a lot of people, but at least a group of our society has felt we were headed toward draconian measures where there'd be FEMA camps and the government would take over. We'd be a police state. It would be very militant. And if you look around and if you pay attention to what's going on, then you'll see that a lot of those things actually are occurring. And the movie, because what I saw was clips of the movie being filmed, I wasn't able to get like a whole picture of it.
Right, because the movie
that was the whole feeling.
Yeah, the movie never got made. So the only way that they could show anything about it was to talk about the movie being made, because the new movie had never ended up being made because the person who made the movie shot his wife, his daughter, and then killed himself.
Now, is that what they came up with? I didn't get to the end, so it ended up that he's the one that did it?
There's not a doubt in my mind he did it whatsoever, and that's why I'm doing this show today, because as a result of watching the video and watching what happened to him, I could see that he was radicalized by Alex Jones, that he was in the military. He was a military kid. He joined up after 9/11. He went over to Iraq. He fought. He came back. He started listening to InfoWars. He decided he was going to make this movie, and he got stop-gapped or stop-lost and sent back to Iraq for 15 months after he just got married. And I think it was in that 15-month period. And ladies and gentlemen, I want you to really think hard and long about what I'm saying to you. Imagine you were coming home to your new wife, and you got sent back for 15 months back to Iraq to do this police work that they do, where they bash people's doors in and make people get on their hands and knees and run through their papers. That's what they do every day, all day long. That's what they do. Okay, so he went back. Can you imagine? Let me ask you a question. Can you imagine what would you do to those people that are subhuman to you, your enemy, when you were so mad and so upset about the fact that you're stuck there? You wouldn't be very nice to people, would you? No, you'd probably be making them get on their knees and shooting people in the head. I'm not saying this guy did it, but I'm saying the video that he put forward about what's going to happen to people in the near-term future in America if things go the way they say they're going to go, that's where the violence came from on this trailer and the idea of this movie. So this individual, a person who's in war, when people go to war, they got to do what they got to do. Okay? You're in it with your buddies. You're in it with your bros. You guys are over there, and you're going to try to stay alive and get home. And that's what everybody does. What people do in war is like Vegas. What you do in war, stay in war. You know, you don't do that when you come back home, but as a result of being involved in some of these things that you got to do, you have to do it. Okay? You got to come home and you got to assimilate yourself back into the population and try to act normal. You know, it's not easy to act normal after you've been through some of the things that these poor guys had to go through. My name's Jimmy. It's Into the Microcosm.
Is less a movie than it is a warning. We do not live in a dictatorship, but we do live in a police state. What we're going to see is the unveiling of this gray state foisted upon America. Americans believe that they can't do anything. And day by day, they're becoming correct. It's a game of numbers, and we're losing.
This is about the Second American Civil War, ladies and gentlemen. That's what Gray State is about. When all the technology of the government and the military is turned back around against the American people. When we allow people to be waterboarded and tortured and thrown into black prisons because we think that they're our enemy. And now that whole apparatus is getting ready to be turned back around on quote-unquote patriots. What's a patriot? Well, I guess that all depends on the individual. There is no oath to be a patriot. You don't have to take an oath. You can just say, I'm a patriot, and thereby you are a patriot. But a group of patriots, 100 patriots, they could have 100 different views of the way they think the world should be moving, Brandy. So we find ourselves in a weird situation, and I want to take a little bit of looking at how somebody can be radicalized today on Into the Microcosm. We got a couple minutes left before the break. Go ahead.
Well, I think that there's so much going on around where people could get radicalized. And when you're talking about creating fear and living in fear, that's one of the best ways to promote that kind of behavior, because you're pushing that fight or flight, and you know, either you fight against what's going on, which means you might eventually lose all reason. And it kind of sounds like that's what happened to this guy. And with what he'd been through, it isn't surprising. And we're not having to go through the kinds of things he did every day, but we also don't have the training for going through anything like that, which at least he had some training. But we're not prepared for what we're going through. Who taught us this? Who told us this? How to fight back, how to keep an even keel, and what to do and when to do it. And I think that that's probably one of the most disturbing things about it. And it surprises me every day, actually, that we don't have more tragedy going on and we don't have more people, going postal against each other than we actually do. I remember when that first event happened at the post office, and I don't even remember when that was, Jimmy, but where the guy, went in with a gun and shot at people. Do you remember that? And where the phrase from going postal came from?
Yeah, I do. I do. Yeah, I mean, there's never a no way to know when someone's going to go off. But that's the thing is that in watching this, the movie is called A Gray State, not Gray State. So this is the making of A Gray State and the talk about what happened as a result. And, like I said earlier, at the end of it all, he shot and killed his wife, his daughter, and then he killed himself. And like I said, to me, there's no doubt in my mind that he did do it, based on what I saw. I don't know what's going through the guy's mind, obviously. But what I do know is that I could see a progression in this movie along the line as he was making the trailer. It's my personal feeling he never intended to make a full movie. It's my personal feeling he intended to make this trailer and then do what he did and kill himself and put an exclamation point on the information that's contained in the trailer. I believe this fully. I could see in his eyes a lot of in the video. There's pictures of him here and there, and I've shared with you before. I have empathic tendencies, unfortunately, and so a lot of times I can pick up on the energy of something, and I'm just from my gut is telling me that the whole point was of this making of this trailer was to end it the way that it ended. Mom's Jimmy. We're gonna be right back after a bottom of the hour messages. Don't forget, we're listener supported right here. You can come on down to the website, freedomslips.com, revolution.radio. We got 55 people in the chat. Everybody's talking, and it's going good. So come on down. We'll be right back.
Whiskey bottles and brand new cars. Oak tree, you're in my way. There's too much coke and too much smoke. Look what's going on inside you. Ooh, that smell. Can't you smell that smell? Ooh, that smell. The smell of death around you. Charming. Can't speak a word when you're full of blues.
All right, there we go. We got a 2 minutes.
We're partway down the rabbit trail. Hey, Marty says that he had heard that movie might have gotten altered in the end, and
there was no movie.
That
there was no movie.
That the clips or whatever.
Oh, the movie on whatchamacallit, the documentary thing.
Yeah, and that after the guy made it, things were altered, and there are people saying he didn't kill himself. So I don't know. I just thought I might mention it to you.
Yeah, well, the thing about it is I it's my opinion that he knows what the alternative media thinks. He knows what the people that are into it are up to, And so I think that if he did what I think he did, which is killed himself, he knew that everybody would think that he didn't kill himself, that they killed him because he told the truth. And I think that it legitimized his position more.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Marty is a woman. Excuse me.
Oh yeah, Marty's all woman over there. She's over there.
Jimmy knew.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Marty.
That's all right. Well, we got another minute, man. Dry Fly guy's over there. Go over there and say hello in the other chat. I'll shout him out when we go back. Fuck, I'm not even taking care of business. Hang on.
Go take care of business. I'll say hi to everybody. Hi, everybody in the chat room. It's good to see you guys. Let's see, we got Bad over there. Zoe's here. Greenheart. I'm in there, too. And Marty. Again, so sorry, madame. We have David here. Kenny's here. And
sorry.
I like you, too. That's okay.
You know what season it is? Bathing suit season? No.
All right, sorry. Here we go. We're going back. Get ready.
All right, you sinners, swing. Sinners, swing. Danger in the rearview mirror, there's trouble in the wind. Madness ringing up the rear, the menace is loose again. She looks so fucking good, so sexy and so frail. Something got the bite on me, I'm going straight to hell. And now we're wasting time. Now we're wasting time. Same old pickup line. Same old pickup line. And just keep
Van Halen. Sinners Swing. Hey, the break snuck up on me there, and I kind of left things there untidy. But I did want to say, mosey on over freedomslips.com. We are listener supported for Revolution Radio is listener supported. And you can go over there and become a patron, and your donations will support us and keep us going through these hard times. We got 54 people in the chat. Abart, Heath, Greenheart, Dave, Sleepy No More, AJ, Karen 936, Wild, Dawn's in there, Navy, Dude Guy, Bassman, Zippy 101, Blobs, Flippy, Captain Fred, Dirt Engineer, Mr. Rowe, Choppy Waters, Tootsie, JJ, Not Much to It, Just Me, Wild Bob, Fleischquauer, and Rudolph, Lady Horse, Mona Rattler, Eagle Flower, and an old guy. That's all I can see. I'm sure there's more. Mr. Rose over there, too. There's more people down there below the line. I can't see them. But what we're talking about today is radicalization. And so we were talking about the making of the movie Gray State, and I was talking about the individual that made that movie and how he might have been radicalized by some of the information that, he was getting into after he came back from the Iraq War. Now, he had found someone that he was really in love with. They got married, and he was getting ready to start his life. He had this movie ready to, in his mind, and he was ready to roll. And he got caught up in something. So I think this 15-month stop-loss thing that happened to him, I think that's really where whatever ideas he might have had for the future might have, materialized.
We never needed to join the military, but we were playing airsoft, kind of like paintball or whatever. We tried to make it as realistic as possible, I guess. So we're trying to wear accurate uniforms and trying to do, military type movements and military type things. And for me, and I think for him too, it was just a natural progression of, I like the military, I like guns, I like, that type of thing. So I'm like, I would like to progress from playing it to being it.
I can't ever remember deciding to join the Army, but of course we were all inundated with the whole glory aspect of it, having seen Black Hawk Down, which came out around the time that we were in 10th grade. And so at some point it became obvious to us that we were joining the military.
is fun.
Turn around and we're gonna go back up that way.
I served in Ramadi, Iraq in 2006, and I witnessed directly what we're doing there, the good and the bad.
Okay, so I want to pause it there because this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about right here. Now, imagine you're somebody, you're a patriot, which is what he was, and he wanted to join the military, which is what he did. And then he went over there believing in his mission, which is what people are supposed to do. But there comes a time when this information that's available widely on the internet, and taking something, for example, while the boys are over in Iraq, all of a sudden, all this information starts coming out about 9/11. 9/11 was an inside job. 9/11's this. 9/11's that. You know, there were no weapons of mass destruction. These things, listen, if you were in a time of war and somebody was broadcasting that stuff, you would be arrested because it's enemy talk demoralizing the forces. So the military has no way to keep these guys from listening to whatever they're listening to. It's a free world, okay? Can you imagine being in war, sent to war, and being sitting there with your buddies, and all of a sudden coming to that realization that, things...
So at some point, it became obvious to us that we were joining the military.
Well, this is fun.
Turn around and we're gonna go back up that way.
He's out shooting in Iraq. They're all shooting towards a
Ramadi,
village.
Iraq in 2006, and I witnessed directly what we're doing there, the good and the bad.
Hang on a second here. Something's jamming up on this here.
Give it to old boy right there. Put this in the water, dude.
9/11 obviously generated a lot of emotion. You see 3,000 of your fellow Americans incinerated. And you think, that sucks. So when they say we need to go to Iraq because of this, you're going to Iraq, buddy. I've seen people shot in the head. I've seen people killed. I've seen people blown up. I've been in combat. I've shot people. I know how combat goes. You die like animals. We die like animals. You bleed out, and then you leave a corpse that looks surprised. And that's just how it is. And I witnessed directly how the mentality of the American soldier is being used, and directly how the mentality of the American public is being used. I mean, when you follow a flag, you're going to be manipulated. It's not like following a person or following an idea. You're following a country, and whatever that country says to follow, you're going to do. It is morally reprehensible what we're doing in the Middle East. And if you don't understand that yet, you need to open your eyes, because you are a slave for the most insidious global agenda mankind has ever known, and you are directly responsible for that. At some point, you've got to realize that you're just a dog jumping through hoops for the government.
I'm going to stop there for a second. So he checked out there for a second right at the end of what he said in the interview. He was talking, and at the end of that, he went into a blank state where he stared off into the thing. He's taking a sip of his drink. And so this was a moment, in this movie where I think it was really revealing as far as the making of this or the what happened to his family as a result. This wasn't put forward as a conspiracy theory thing, had nothing to do with that. It's just an interesting story for A&E to put forward, but for me it hit home just because he built a following, and he got a lot of popularity based on some of these kind of things that he's saying here on this interview. So he started to build himself on YouTube. He started to build himself up on Facebook. He started to gain a little bit of traction. He really had an understanding about what the people that in the truth movement were interested in. And so he started a GoFundMe campaign to get this movie going. And they wanted to get $6,000 together, and then they were going to take and make that $6,000 into this trailer, and then they were going to take the trailer down to Hollywood and sell the movie to somebody or try to get it made. That's where he was at. So let's let him finish up here with what happened. Here we go.
Ow.
So, hang on a second here.
For the most insidious global agenda mankind has ever known, and you are directly responsible for that. At some point...
Bye-bye.
So he gets... Hang on a second. I'm skipping up in here.
So I'll have...
So hang on a second. Here we go.
Now, if the character has a desire, that means he often has a competing internal desire, which often comes from a past trauma that usually is explained at the midpoint. It becomes very scientific and very methodical, but that doesn't mean it's any easier to create. So I'll have certain colors that represent when the character will acknowledge...
Okay, he's standing in front of a giant psycho wall that has a bunch of colored papers all taped onto the wall, and he's explaining how his character walks through these different events on this wall. And I mean, he is clearly talking about himself, Brandy, is he not? I mean, he's just talking about himself when he's talking about the character in this film. Go ahead.
Well, that was my impression, especially when he kind of fades off into this like deep thought, kind of like he's going back there. Yeah, I had that impression.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go.
Put a mark down.
He had a very take control personality, and I think I almost got like submissive of it. After I had seen the results, I'm like, well, I didn't agree with you, but holy this looks good.
I was having a lot of problems with this video for some reason. I don't know why. Anyhow, there we go. So I was trying to get the stop loss thing going, but basically
a pit bull when he was
hang on a second.
Doesn't exist. He's going to use that trailer as a marketing tool to get money to pay himself in order so he can write the script. Then he's going to take that script, take it to Hollywood, get $30 million to make the movie that he wants to make. It's an improbable dream. I mean, it's a guy in Apple Valley. He's unemployed. He's got a young family, and he's doing it in reverse order. I don't believe that even he could have foresaw how successful that was going to be.
I was hoping this was gonna be it. This thing is all torn up. I can't get it to play the part I want about the stop loss. He was super upset about the stop loss, and you know, he came back. He started getting into making this movie. Now, in the course of this movie, he bumps into Alex Jones back in 2012. Alex is protesting somewhere, and he bumps into him. They hook up, and then Alex started kind of promoting the movie itself, you know, putting it out a little bit. And he got his $6,000. He got $68,000 total.
I'm going to do that. And you guys have to tell
He got $68,000 total on his GoFundMe, and they went ahead and they made the trailer. And I invite you to, you know, search this up yourself. This is a radio show. I can't show you the trailer, obviously. And like I said, it's mostly visual, very little talking. It's extremely disturbing. There's people getting their heads blown off, people getting shot on their knees, Americans protesting. There's trucks in the street everywhere. There's military personnel. There's people watching cameras of individuals inside of their homes. Everyone has to take in a double triangle mark. And then when you go to the store, you expose your arm to a scanner. The scanner scans your arm. It showed a lot of the grocery stores were empty. And it just showed a lot of fear and violence and darkness. And honestly, what happened to him in the end, they found him, his wife, and his child dead inside of his house. Allah Akbar was scrawled on the wall in blood, in giant letters, in his wife's blood. Before this happened, they had progressed, like I said, they were moving along the conveyor belt of the industrial truth complex, and they had reached a point where they had started to go into some of this dimensional talk behind the veil, through the veil. They started to see things at their house. They started to see entities, different stuff like this. And they had reached this point, and a lot of their friends had noticed that they had gotten darker for some reason. The wife wasn't as talkative anymore. She never left. She never left his side. I mean, she was never outside of where he was. They had this little tiny filter bubble that they lived in. Meanwhile, the industrial truth complex is being pumped into this dude's head every single day. He's tuning in the radio. He's tuning in down to Austin, Texas. And he's getting all fired up. I mean, there's scenes of the movie where he's listening to Jones and he's yelling at the radio in the movie. So anyhow, they reached this point. They got to a point, Brandy, and it ended. It ended, and it ended in a really serious way. And the thing about it is, I can look at the person and know that he would have not one problem shooting somebody in the head. Not one problem. Now, there's some really strange stuff that goes on in this movie, because there's all this video. He was videotaping everything. So there's a part in the video where his little daughter was talking about some dream that she had, talking about a beast and a monster, and that blood was everywhere and blood was all over the floor. All this stuff, and this is like before it even happened. It almost makes me think that maybe they didn't even know that the gun was real. I mean, he was literally, he could have told them, hey, we're going to do a scene or whatever. You know what I mean, Brandy? Go ahead. There's just no...
That seems really intense. I don't know. But what I did notice as the clips were moving along, each time he talked and was discussing about how he was going to direct things, he would frequently ask people, tell me if that's going too far. Is that going too far? I mean, one of the things he said was, I'm going to sick a pack of dogs on a family, and to the point that, they might get hurt, and I'm leaving it up to you to tell me if it's too much. I mean, I really got the sense that he had a lot of trouble with control and knowing what was going to be safe and what wasn't, and he really counted on others. But
so here's the thing. Yeah. Here's the thing, Brandy. With this information, if you're not emotionally stable to handle it, even if you were in the beginning, you were fine, but it chips away at you. It chips away at you. It chips away at you day by day by day by day by day, until the frustration level just reaches a certain point. Now, this is a story that's documented. There's thousands of these stories that happen every single day. We never hear about them because we never hear about the details. We never heard that the guy was this or that, or it doesn't line up with what I'm saying. But what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of people that are not stable enough to you wouldn't put certain people who are not stable enough to be in charge during an emergency, because you know that they're not stable. They don't have what it takes to be in control of things when things get really intense. Because what happens is people internalize this shit, and there's nothing you can do to get away from it. Once you internalize it, it's inside of you. And the problem is that, as a really rude metaphorical example, when you see a plane in the sky going by and there's chemtrails going, what can you do about it? Except stand there and shake your fist and yell at the sky. Other than that, the chemtrails are going to keep on going, and they're going to keep on going. And that's where the frustration happens. because it becomes a point where there are so many of these overwhelming, horrible problems that you can't do anything about. You're frustrated. You got to do something. You know, I got to do something. That's where people are. Some people are right there, and how far away from you snapping or from that point when I got to do something. You know, people internalize and stuff. Do they get in arguments with their mates? Do their relationships go in the toilet? Do they start getting abusive? Isolating themselves, maybe. That's another one. They isolate. I'm in a dark place. You know, don't bother me. You know, Brandy. So I mean, the thing is, once you've got a mass people turned against the government because the government's no good. I mean, being against the government 6 years ago is a lot different than being against the government today. So in other words, it used to be okay to be against the government. It's okay to talk about the government bad. Now all of a sudden, it's not okay. And now all of a sudden, there's all this stuff in place that now if people get frustrated and go want to lash out, well, they're going to turn this whole apparatus back around against the Christian patriot community, the gun owners, and they're going to come for them. And this is a really dangerous time right now in America, ladies and gentlemen. Real dangerous. My name's Jimmy. It's in the Microcosm, Revolution Radio. We're listener supported over there. Come on down, become a patron. We have a Zazzle store you can visit. Quite a bit of great stuff in there. I'm sure you'll appreciate it. And if you don't really want to handle any of the electronic business, you can visit our favorite lady down at the bottom, Lady Horse. She's takes all letters and mail and paper. Send it on in. She'd love to hear from you. It doesn't have to be money. You can send her a little note saying hello if you want. I'm sure she'd appreciate it. All the management here work super hard, and as well as all the broadcasters. You know, like I was saying earlier, it's tough to walk through this stuff every day, and you know, try to keep yourself separated from it. And I have a hard time doing it myself. You know, a lot of times I get frustrated and upset with stuff that's going on, but you know, I find other ways to express myself. You know, if it's some physical activity or some weightlifting or something like that. But the thing is, a lot of what people have in common who listen to alternative media, they're all freedom lovers. They all love their guns. You know, most people are firearm lovers. You know, that listen to the alternative media. They want to keep their guns. They appreciate. They have fun. They go out shooting. They hunt. They do their thing. And so there's this commonality where you could almost grab any single person. All you really have to do is get their IP address and see they were listening over on the Alex Jones show for a couple of months, and you could probably extrapolate from that that they got a gun. Right, Brandy? So, I mean, these are the very same people that now are called ideological domestic terrorists. There's a 22,000-page bill that's going to say your ideological terrorism begins with your R on your voting, on your ballot, as you registered Republican. So now there seems to be a battle between the two states, Brandy. And that's a frustration level that I think a lot of people are really having a hard time dealing with right now. And this is why we're talking about it, because taking good-hearted people and turning it around on them and turning them into radicals and then turning around and arresting them, you know, for being the radical that you created is really an amazing, you know, place to be.
I love the way you put that. And you know what it is, Jimmy? It's evil. That's what it is. It's evil.
It is evil. It is evil. All right, well, listen, QAnon is a big part of what happened here. And it's a big part of what's happening. And they're going to use this QAnon thing to delegitimize most of what the truth community talks about. They're going to use this QAnon ragdoll. They're going to use it, and they're going to say, listen, this guy's he's talking about vaccines. He's one of those QAnon dudes. Oh, that person's talking about some child case? Oh, it was one of those QAnon people. They're going to use QAnon as going to be the new conspiracy theorist. That's going to be the new buzzword that everybody's going to be using. And, we're in a situation that puts us in a precarious place because just by our very wanting the best for our country now, we've become outlaws. And it's wild, man. It is just too wild. So Gray State, it never got made, obviously, and you can go watch the full documentary. It's an hour and a half long. I will post the link in the chat room over there at freedomslips.com. I will post the link there for you to watch. It's about an hour and 30 minutes. I highly recommend it. Take a look at the Gray State trailer. It is super powerful. It's and like I said, it is graphic. It's about as graphic as it gets. My name's Jimmy. It's in the microcosm. It's revolution.radio, freedomslips.com, the house that Nighthawk built, boy. Woohoo! Guess what? I'm an outlaw. I'd like to recommend the 48 Panhead. Stay tuned. Coming up, Fenton Perspective here on Studio A and Scott McKay on Studio B. Mom's Jimmy. It's in the microcosm. We'll be right back. All right, we're clear. Go ahead, Brandy. Jump in here with the chat. I got some stuff to do here.
Hey, chat room. We had a couple people come in. Hi, Spencer. It's good to see you.
Sweet.
Lolly came in.
Oh, nice.
And Dryfly, I did call Dryfly out, but I don't think it came through before.
Oh, sweet.
Good to see everybody else. And yeah, everybody else is still in there. And we hope more will come join us in here at the chat because we do enjoy talking with you and sharing perspectives that we may not be able to get into on the air.
Well, Kev Baker's on right now too, so a lot of our friends are over there listening to him. So when he gets done, they may come on over. So should be cool. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, you know, we we're going somewhere anyway. At least, I mean, it seems like it. Anyway, I'm trying to get us ready here. We got 2 minutes still. I'm ready to go with this piece that I got lined up. No, hang on. I got screwed. This may be good though.
Like 20 years, I feelings 'cause I had no fears. The sun goes down and
Okay, I'm ready. All right, cool, chat room. Good to see you, Lolly. Good to see you, Zoe. Good to see you, Spencer. Hey, let's see who else is over there. Kenny, it's evil. Dry Fly Guy. Who else is over there? That's about it. Let me see. Wait, was that? Greenheart's over there, too. What's up, Greenheart? Good to see you. All right, we're going to be heading on back here. I'm just going to go ahead and connect, Brandy. So I'm done over here, so I don't need to stay silent on there anymore. So here we go.
Okay.
All right.
Let's go.
Go ahead and mute up, please. So here we go. Mom's Jimmy. It's into the microcosm, hour number 2. We're talking about radicalization.
it was the height of summer in like 20 years. I had no feelings 'cause I had no fears. The sun goes down and then the mercury falls. Ain't no tomorrow when the moonlight calls you to the only dance. 'Cause it's the only dance there is. It's the only dance. You do the only dance there is. Yeah!
I'm Alexander Hefner, your host on The Open Mind. Based in San Diego, California, Travis View is my guest today. He's a writer, conspiracy theory researcher, and co-host of the podcast QAnon Anonymous, which chops and screws the best conspiracy theories of the post-truth era. According to Wikipedia, QAnon is a far-right conspiracy theory detailing a supposed secret plot by an alleged deep state against U.S. President Donald Trump and his supporters. The theory began with an October 2017 post on the anonymous image board 4chan by someone using the name Q, a presumably American individual that may have later grown to include multiple people, claiming to have access to classified information involving the Trump administration and its opponents in the United States. And that, again, is from Wikipedia. Welcome, Travis. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Is that an accurate anecdotal origin story?
I mean, broadly, I think that really more central to the QAnon conspiracy theory is the belief that the world is run by a cabal of child sacrificing elites. And they control everything. They control governments, they control the media, they control Hollywood. And they would have continued doing this sort of basically indefinitely were it not for the election of Donald Trump. They basically believe that if Hillary Clinton were to win, then this evil elite cabal would have just sort of continued doing all the evil they wanted, sort of unimpeded. But the QAnon community believes that Donald Trump knows all about this cabal, is fighting them behind the scenes. And he's doing it with the assistance of a group of military intelligence officials known as Q Team. And this Q Team is sort of letting the public know about what is going on with this sort of fight with the cabal through these posts on these image boards. Image boards originally started on 4chan, moved to 8chan, and now 8kun. And
okay, I'm going to stop it there for a second, Brandy. So the thing about it is that why does things have to be done in secret? Why does Trump have to send you secret messages and say things in code and parables and different things? Why, if I'm president of the United States, I send in my my law enforcement people to make arrests? Okay, If there's something that I know, then the arrests start. No arrests were made. Epstein and Giselle Maxwell. Yeah, whatever. You know, it's just a franchise it's just a franchise operation. Believe me, it didn't put a dent in any of the things that people are concerned about. And the problem is that there's so much disinformation in here. It's not even funny. It would take me, you know, a couple of shows to break out the disinformation about adrenochrome, how many children go missing a year. These are big facts that people just taken and run with, and no one's ever really done the investigation. If you go take a look at a channel called Houstonic, he did a big thing on exactly out of those millions of children that are reported missing, how many are actually missing. And I'm not saying, trust me, I'm not saying this stuff doesn't go on. It's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is, this is a serious topic, and they're going to use this QAnon idea to discredit anybody who comes forward with real information from now on. And unfortunately, it's going to have a big effect on us, and we got to take a look at it. So let's listen up. Here we go.
The QAnon community believes that by decoding these very cryptic, very vague sort of posts on these image boards, they can sort of understand what's sort of going on really behind the scenes.
The fact of the matter is Donald Trump has retweeted and often promotes QAnon literature. So even if you don't believe it as a viewer, it is in the mainstream right now by virtue of his reposting of it.
Yeah, I think, Trump has quote tweeted or retweeted literally dozens of QAnon accounts. He's actually even retweeted one tweet that contained the hashtag QAnon. Also, additionally, there are dozens of congressional candidates who currently promote QAnon. There's no knowing how well they're going to do in the election in November. But I think, this is definitely a topic worth exploring, even if you rightly dismiss it as all sort of absurd nonsense.
What do they say, the QAnon advocates and posters, in response to what is the mainstream media definition, which is that this is not just outlandish, but this is just fictional? The sort of the QAnon reaction, sort of the mainstream media sort of definition of QAnon, is that this is all sort of a controlled message, is that the mainstream media is sort of like scared of QAnon rising and uncovering the truth. Because ultimately, they see themselves as a competitor to the mainstream media. They think that, when the mainstream media goes out and reports on things that happen, then that's basically all lies, or it's in service of a particular narrative. And the QAnon community, they are working to destroy that false narrative. They imagine themselves to be very heroic in this way. And do you see it more as a monetized commercial aspiration or as a political party? Because in both cases you've described, and if you follow Travis on Twitter, you'll see he will point out every example around the country and even the world of Q literature. So
Right.
that might be a sign, a sticker, a bumper sticker on the back of a
Sure.
car. That might be people reading the Qs in Donald Trump's messages and trying to decode what it means.
I think it's mostly a political aspiration. I think that there are two sides. There are the grifters of the QAnon community. There are people who don't believe it but want to exploit people who do believe it for monetary gain. But there are people who are sincerely radicalized into this belief. They believe this sort of this grand conspiratorial narrative that the world is run by a group of evil people who lie about everything, and they are very nobly working to dispel those lies.
So, I want to point out that this is a mainstream perception of so as you're listening to the individual who tracks all of the Q posting and all of the stuff that goes on, as you're listening to him, if you listen to him just as a person and not somebody who believes in the idea that was put forward, but you just listen to this guy talking about it, you have to say. I mean, I'm saying to myself, Brandy, he sounds a bit kooky, doesn't he? I mean, I'm just saying the guy that they used for the Q representative sounds a bit kooky, doesn't he?
A little bit, yeah, but a lot of it does sound kooky.
I know. Well, that's the thing. That is the thing, is that this shit is so real. It's not even funny. It's not even funny. But
you know what doesn't make sense? Absolutely does not make sense to me is, and again, I'm always of the belief that there's some truth in, in things that are being said. But if they have to go around speaking in code and decoding and doing all these things, and then whatever's being said, if it's not allowed, it would be cut off. It wouldn't be allowed to be. I mean, look how quickly things.
Let me just say this. Look, I'm president of the United States. Okay, if I'm president of the United States, Jimmy, my name's Jimmy. I'm president of the United States. I would say, I would hold myself a fireside chat, covered by all the networks, and I would lay out to people exactly what's going on. I'd tell them what I was up to. I was telling them I'm about to make some arrests. I'd call it, and while I was on TV, the arrests would be being made as I was going public. The doors would be getting kicked in of these pedophiles. People would be getting dragged out.
That's the way I would do it too. Absolutely.
Yeah, and the thing is like, with the laws that we have here in America, gee, man, we can black bag somebody. We can put tie wraps on their hands. We can throw them in the back of a minivan. We can take them to a prison inside of a prison inside of a prison, and they can sit in there and rot, and nobody will ever know. They're gone. They're just disappeared. Where'd Bob go? Oh, I don't know. He was here 1 minute. Next thing I knew, some dudes in a white van pulled up, put a bag over his head, put some tie wraps on him, and threw him in the back of that van. I don't know where the hell he went. Well, he was a patriot, man. He sure was. That patriot, Bob. I don't know where he went, but I'll tell you one thing. He was sure patriot. See, that's how easy it happens. See, it's just that simple. That's literally where we are, because we've been there. We've been here since 9/11 happened. This has been going on since 9/11 happened. The only thing was, nobody cared about the other people that it was being done to. And the fact of the matter is that if you're going to do that to somebody else, you better expect that it might get done to you. And that's where we are. And we're here, and people are radicalized. People are going out and shouting, and it's, nothing wrong with that, speaking your voice. But, guess what? They don't want to hear your voice now, because now you're a radical. You're one of them Q people, is what they're going to say to you, man. You might as well. You one of them Q people, Brandy? You must be.
It also ties back to sort of a.
Go ahead.
Anytime I express my opinion, is it that Q stuff? I'm like, no, I'm just thinking.
Well, the thing is, what I'm saying is that there's nothing wrong with the information, and there's nothing wrong with the Q people that want to find the truth. There's nothing wrong with any of that. But what I'm saying is that they're going to take it and turn it around and make it look cartoonish, and they're going to use it as a rag doll to point at and have everybody mock that person and laugh and point and giggle behind their hand as the person's talking, because it's so ridiculous. But that really puts us in a situation, doesn't it? It kind of nullifies the alternative media all in one swoop, don't it? It kind of makes everything we say seem ridiculous now, don't it? Because they're going to use that as a cartoon representation now. There is no dividing line. Look, when you're watching the mainstream, there's a dividing line between the news and the rest of that crap that's on there. But in the alternative media, there is no dividing line between news, fantasy, speculation, crazy people. There's no difference. There's no dividing line. It's all one giant bubble, and a giant bubble that they're going to point at, and they're going to say, look at this ridiculous giant bubble of nonsense, and nullify everybody and emasculate away the men. No more head on back, don't worry about it, we got it under control. You're out of bounds.
Sort of New World Order conspiracy theories.
The New World Order. You should have heard this dude making that movie he recorded himself talking about the movie deal, and in the background he was saying, this is what he said. He goes, all you got to do is say New World Order, and these chumps will start pulling out their wallets. The guy that made that Gray State movie, when he was talking about trying to pitch that movie, he told the movie company he had you figured out, and all you had to do is say New World Order, and you'd start pulling out your wallet.
The world is sort of being controlled by a cabal, and those always have, at the very minimum, an anti-Semitic subtext. But lots of QAnon followers, they aren't, I guess, racist or anti-Semitic in an overt way, but some of them certainly are.
Oh, okay. So now this guy, the interviewer, must have inferred some anti-Semitism now. So see, this is another thing getting lumped in with the QAnon thing. Oh, if you're a Q follower, well, you must be an anti-Semite too now, right? Okay, well, that's really good. Real good. Okay, let's keep going. Let's see what else we got going here. I mean, we're only 6 minutes and 9 seconds into this thing.
So, from your interaction with this community, with which you have some regular conversation or dialogue, right?
Yeah.
Daily or weekly?
I mean, I interact with QAnon followers online, I think,
every day?
Daily. And then I've also met a few at rallies and stuff.
So there is a segment of genuine believers in this movement who you would say are disconnected from that subtext and from that larger political aspiration?
Yes, there are people who don't really see the sort of political aspiration. They sort of see themselves as what they call themselves digital soldiers. And they imagine...
That sounds political.
It does sound political.
Right.
Because they imagine that they are fighting this very noble fight to destroy the narrative that's controlling everyone.
What I'm trying to understand...
Go ahead, Randy. I heard you about to say something. Go ahead.
It wasn't me, actually. Maybe my thinking was really hard, though.
I don't know. Something happened to your microphone, though. You sound all muffled. But so I'm going to play this again. I have to play this again because I just want you to just listen, man. This is your Aunt Thelma when you're trying to tell her something about this Q stuff. This is what you sound like. Listen. Listen to this.
See themselves as what they call themselves digital soldiers. And they imagine...
That sounds political.
It does sound political.
Right.
Because they imagine that they are fighting this very noble fight to destroy the narrative that's controlling everyone.
What I'm trying to understand, Travis, is when did the cabal form? I mean, when did you start doubting the integrity of the American Republic and the experience here?
A lot of them believe that it started hundreds of years ago, and this ties back to conspiracy theories about the Illuminati and the Freemasons and those sorts of secret societies, kind of conspiracy theories. There are others who believe that it more ties to the American deep state, as its origins in the belief that JFK was assassinated by out of control intelligence agencies in the U.S. federal government, and they have been working to keep everything secret. I mean, the truth is that it's not really a coherent narrative. They all have different sort of factions, different ideas of who the cabal is and what their ultimate goals are. But they're all sort of united in the belief that everything is a lie, and therefore the order that needs to be destroyed.
But they themselves are sort of an anarchy or a sort of a libertarian attitude towards their narrative. They don't feel like they have to have a unified narrative on their origin, and they accept people in their sort of unified principle is a love for Donald Trump.
That's true. We often call QAnon as sort of a big tent conspiracy theory, in the sense that it welcomes people of many broad sort of conspiratorial beliefs. You might have people who believe in the idea of alien disclosure. This is the idea that the U.S. government has been hiding lots of UFO secrets for decades, and then eventually those secrets are going to be released and we'll have access to incredible technologies. There are other people who really are more focused on the religious aspects, the belief that the cabal is Satan worshipping and they're fighting a holy fight. And there are still others who believe things like JFK Jr. lives. This idea that JFK Jr. did not die in 1999 in a plane crash, but is somehow still alive to this day.
So,
So are you listening to this now? I mean, are you trying to listen to this with an ear to try to hear what this guy's saying? I mean, are you listening to this? Because, I mean, I'm just saying, if you're just a normal person that's not into the truth movement or whatever, industrial truth complex, you're not a clicker, you know? You listen to this stuff, man, and I got to say, I'm trying to listen to it just like a regular, old dude down at the coffee house or whatever, man. This guy sounds crazy. I'm sorry, man. I know everything about everything he's saying. I know a lot of the facts about a lot of these cases, but to hear it put into these just really quick quips in storyline fashion, it sounds ridiculous to me. And I know it's not ridiculous, and I'm not saying it's not true. I'm saying, regular people running around wearing masks, okay? They're going to believe what they say about QAnon. And it's really sad because, people were interested in finding out the truth and, they got used. They got used on January 6th. They used the energy from everybody. Now they're going to turn it around on us and make us the criminals. My name's Jimmy. It's Into the Microcosm. Revolution Radio. All right, let's continue. Like I said, I mean, we still haven't even progressed anywhere on this video. We haven't even gotten through 10 minutes. I mean, if I was on a campaign, if I was on a media campaign to find ammunition to put out there on my mainstream media channel to destroy and make Q people not look in the best of light, it seems like they found the one Q supporter that's actually making people not look too good. Let's continue. I mean, I'm sure everybody's interested in what he has to say. So let's check this out. Here we go.
People who have their own faith in Q, and it might be a certain connection to Kennedy, or it might be a connection to a hate movement, or it may be but there is a patchwork of. I
also want to point out too, it doesn't matter what side of you're on, the right or the left, no matter what side you're on, the Kennedy thing, everybody's a fan of Kennedy. Conservatives, libertarians, liberals, everybody has a vested interest in the mimetic warfare known as the JFK assassination. You know how you say music calms the savage beast? Well, the JFK assassination calms the savage beast in every conspiracy theorist, regardless of what side of the table they're sitting on, and even if they're in the middle. For some reason, and the thing about it is, people are infatuated with the JFK idea and the JFK persona. They want to play the secret society speech that he gave, and they want to point to that, but they don't ever talk about the speech that he gave to the UN about taking away America's guns. I mean, no one ever talks about that speech. You know, it was a big deal. You know, he was fully on board with the United Nations and the disarming of the American people. I don't know if people know that, but you can go and check it out. You can go check out his archives and his library. You'll find that speech. yeah, so I mean, even that is not as it was presented. So, once we reach this point where everything we believe in or we've been taught is a lie, and everything is a lie, and we're suspect about everything. I mean, I think you're one step away from being paranoid at that point, wouldn't you say, Brandy? Paranoia is a thing that really is paranoia. They say love is the drug. I think paranoia is the drug of choice because of the dopamine overdose. And some individuals, as you know, because we've done some research on this subject, that the dopamine overdose to a psychotic person who's psychotic can send them into a schizophrenic paranoia, unprecedented. And easy to do, especially when you hold the emotional triggers that we have seen here from the behavior modification complex. My name's Jimmy. It's into the microcosm.
What is inspiring these folks, and ultimately, what is the effect of Q on civil society?
I mean, the effect of Q on civil society, I think, is really corrosive. It's corrosive, number one, in that it erodes this idea of that truth is knowable, that you can sort of like trust anything at all, and the idea that you can sort of just form ideas about what's true inside of your own head, and that's as good as real. It's also destructive in what it does to personal relationships. At least what I've seen. A lot of QAnon followers, they talk about being isolated from their families. I mean, I get DMs from people about once or twice a month, and they'll say, my father, my brother, my friend has fallen into QAnon, and it's become an obsession, and it's becoming harder to maybe treat their mental illness, and do you have any recommendations on how do I deal with this issue? And it is very troubling.
What would you approximate is the size of the digital footprint, and is that...
Don't be scared. We got your back. It's Revolution Radio. It's Jimmy. It's into the microcosm. We're Studio A, Studio B, 48 hours a day, 7 days a week. Home of industrial strength information. Come on down. Become patron. Visit the Zazzle store or go to see old Layhorse down at the bottom of the page. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you after this break. We'll be right back. I closed my window, so the music stopped, but it's alright. We're done over there. We're back over here. Everything's good. What's up, DJ? What's up, Marty? Yeah, man. You there, Brandy? I don't hear you.
Yep.
Alright, sorry about that. That something happened. I don't know. Alright, we don't have much time. We got 30 minutes left. Why don't you jump in here, Brandy? I need to take care of some stuff here.
Sure. So I'm going to give you a little bit of homework. So I want you to find something this week that you really love doing. Put yourself into it, and next week come back ready to tell us about it. The reason I'm saying this is because it's really important to focus on some positive things, and it really helps a lot. We've talked about it before, but really, really try to do that this week. If it's a hobby, if it's helping someone, if it's just going and meditating for a while, starting a garden, whatever. There's lots of stuff that you can do. Even just going around and walking outside in your bare feet, if you can, getting in touch with the earth and just kind of getting centered, that is really helpful. So think about it.
That's good, yeah.
Because I care about you guys.
Yeah.
I want you to feel good and be joyful.
Yeah, good idea, Brandy.
So,
hang on.
We had a couple people join us.
Sweet. Hang on one second. I got to sound check real quick. Hang on. That live version sucks. Sounds quality is no good. But that's the part where that's the one where he goes, last song, people. All right, stand by. What is that split broadcaster thing on that icon? I don't know what that is. I've seen that once before.
I don't know. Yeah, it's been coming up lately.
Fucking Christ. Stand by. I don't know what that means. I'm not going to enable my virtual camera output. Dude, hold on. Here we go. Here we go.
In the storm out, waiting for the thaw out on a full moon night in the Rocky Mountains.
Says Studio A is unavailable. I'm hanging up, Brandy. I'll call you right back.
Watching for the snow. I've been thinking lately of what I'm missing in the city. And I'm not missing a thing. Watching the full moon crossing the range. Riding the storm out. Riding the storm out. Riding the storm out.
Trying to ride the storm out, man. Some weird stuff going on with this Skype. I'll tell you that. So some odd things going on. We couldn't get back in to the studio. It said studio was busy. So I think somebody accidentally might have dialed in while we were offline there. So let's get back into this information. My name's Jimmy. We're talking about the radicalization of truthers through the industrial truth complex. Starting off there at the center of the spiral is the Alex Jones operation, the Palantir operation down there, the Roger Stone, Alex Jones, Steve Pachenik, triad of power down there that helped manipulate patriots into believing a fairy tale. Show me one billionaire who's not a communist. Show me one. Name me one billionaire who's not a communist. Name me one. You send it to me in my email, jimmyjean27@gmail.com, jimmyjean27@gmail.com. Send me the name of that one billionaire you can find that's not a communist.
And it is very troubling.
What would you approximate is the size of the digital footprint, and is that analogous to the actual footprint? In other words, are we, by virtue of this episode and hosting you, overexposed to it, and in fact the digital footprint is much smaller than the actual presence? Your anecdotal evidence in tweeting every day seems to suggest Q literature is popping up around the country. So my question to you is what's the digital footprint, and does that have some basis in numbers, in flesh and blood?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the digital footprint is sort of overrepresented because it is sort of an online movement. It's based upon this belief that the QAnon followers can, by sitting at their computer and tweeting this basically propaganda, they can change the world. It's a very sort of heroic narrative. But it does spill out into the real world in terms of like, affecting personal relationships, and also acts of domestic extremism. So it also obviously is part of the real world in that at many Trump rallies, you'll see QAnon followers very proudly showing off their Q gear, and there'll be groups of QAnon followers who wear Q shirts. So the actual size of the QAnon community, I mean, is not really known that well. There hasn't been really a good solid poll on that. I would love it if there was, but we just don't know that.
But you would be the most informed, both in terms of telling us how many actual human being followers there are online.
Yeah. I mean, I would
not bots.
There are lots. I mean, it would have to be at least in the hundreds of thousands and possibly into the millions.
And to what extent did the Russian disinformation efforts during the 2016 campaign amplify the sort of pre-Q ideas, and to what extent, if any, was that integrated into the founding principles of Q?
Yeah, we know that the Russian state actors sort of worked to sort of amplify QAnon accounts. They worked to get a lot of retweets, a lot more followers into the QAnon. The Russians might have seen it as an opportunity. I don't think there's any evidence the Russians were driving the narrative so much. By all appearances, this is a homegrown movement.
Okay, so it's a homegrown movement, and yeah, so there was this whole Russian collusion thing that made it into the news, and this whole thing, and it was all pointed out, on the mainstream, that they were making a big thing about Trump and Russians, and there seemed to be in the alternative media, they said, well, there's no Russian collusion there. Well, man, let me tell you something. Better take a bit deeper look at Trump and his construction business before he was president, and take a look at where he was getting some of his money, where it was coming from. Take a look at his trip to Moscow to build a new Trump hotel, and take a look how they used his personality against him and his ego to get him entrapped into some situations. Did you know that Melania Trump's father was the head of the Communist Party? Did you know that?
I had heard that recently. I think it might have been you that said it to me.
Well, Trump, here, I'll read you this article here. Trump's Slovenian wife wasn't just born in a communist country. She was born to a Communist Party official father whose grandparents below the surface may not have just been simple onion farmers, as the sliver of information about Melania and her own parents' origins seemed to narrow the researcher's focus. Yeah, so there's you can take a look here. I'll drop this in the chat. You guys can take a look at it. So I'm just trying to point out that
it really makes you think, doesn't it? Because like Zoe's in here saying, I thought Melania came from meager, and that's contradictory to it. And
here's the kicker. You want to hear you want to get the real kick in the nuts. You know how Trump is, placating and talking to everyone about the border and keeping people out, and we don't want any of these people coming in here and becoming citizens because they have a relative that lived here. Well, he used the same law that he was dangling out in front of everybody trying to tell you how he was closing the borders from these dirty illegal aliens. Meanwhile, he's letting this head of the Communist Party in as a citizen at the same time. On the other side of his face, he's telling you he's keeping people out. He's using the same law that he told you was so awful to get his wife's communist father into the country as a citizen. So, things are never what they seem, ladies and gentlemen. So don't be infatuated by some flowery storyline. Believe me, it's nothing. It's nothing like it's being perpetrated. People have an imagination about what they think is actually going on, and anybody can extrapolate their imagination from a basic set of facts. I'm just saying, don't get caught up in the fantasy and get into the reality, and don't be radicalized by this information. Let's hear some more about what this guy has to say. Here we go.
Do these folks who are writing the stories of QAnon, are they engrossed because they're like writing their own National Enquirer? I mean, is that part of the allure of this, or is that a mistake to simplify it that way?
No, I think the people who genuinely sort of promote QAnon, they really think that they're doing something noble and good. It's not something gossipy. It's really, they believe they're taking part in a incredible revolution. They believe that, like, after this revolution that they call the Great Awakening,
right,
there will be this incredible time of peace and prosperity and togetherness, a utopia, basically. So they feel very motivated to keep doing what they're doing online.
And meanwhile, they've made a lot of predictions that haven't materialized.
They predicted that people like Houman Abedin would be indicted. I mean, the very first Q drop
Have any of their predictions been realized?
Not really. I mean, not more so than like a sort of a psychic medium might be able to get right. I mean, the thing is that Q relies on these sort of these cold reading tricks. Well, Q will say something like very vague, like "watch the water." Now, watch the water. What does that mean? I mean, it could mean anything. And but the thing is that because water covers most of the planet, we all need water to survive. There's going to be a news event eventually that involves Trump and water. And so the QAnon community will look at that and will say, look, Trump drank a glass of water on camera. Q said, watch the water. That means that Q predicted that event, which of course is nonsense.
Right. And do you think...
No, but see, this is an important part, because this is just how, like, when you got a problem in your life, you don't know what to do, and you go to a psychic. These people that claim to be psychics, these are the kinds of things that they say that in general will make sense to whoever's got a reason to take that fact and make it mean something. It's like I say, it's not necessarily what happened, it's what the story around what happened and what people actually make it mean, as opposed to what it actually meant or what it was actually. You don't take it for face value and you try to put some other idea on something other than what it is in its face value form. It's taking something and making it into something that it wasn't. Here we go.
A narrative where there is destruction, and basically say that they predicted it, in some fashion, because they've come up with so many,
of course,
hypotheses. For instance, with coronavirus and the emergence of this new disease, how have you seen the real-time integration of live world events into their propaganda?
Yeah. They a lot of them have been claiming that the coronavirus is sort of created by the deep state, or they claim that it's a part of Bill Gates' plan to sort of destroy most of humanity.
Or China, right? I think I've seen some examples, because China, that's where there is a segment that is the American ethos of fear of other powers, and some sympathy that you might have in understanding the geopolitical conflict historically, the aspiration of democracy. But are those people who would accuse China of corruption or some sort of biochemical failure, intentional or unintentional? Is there a segment of them that they're saying that because of their own professed patriotism?
It might, yeah, it's part of that. I feel like they're mostly wary of elites generally, just the people who are in power, whether it's Bill Gates, whether it's the Chinese Communist Party.
So why do they want Donald Trump seemingly to serve until he's, how old, over 100? I mean,
right.
Some, maybe a preponderance of the Q community would like to see Trump's realization of that Time magazine meme graphic where he's winning elections every 4 years for 3-4 decades. I mean, aren't they so skeptical of authoritarianism?
Well,
except Trump?
Not his case. They see him as a Washington outsider, which he technically is, but they believe that he is one of the only uncorrupted elites. For some reason, they believe that he is the one who's going to come in and acquire all of this power, and he.
Trump's wife, Ivanka, used to ride around with Giselle Maxwell and pick up models in New York City to do modeling work, young girls off the street to become models. So, you know, listen, man. Trump's been involved in a lot of things for a long time. You look back at, look at when he went and visited Reagan. Did you know he had a connection to Nixon after Nixon got out of office? Trump's been behind the scenes for a long time. Trump is a Washington outsider in the sense that he doesn't know how the system necessarily works with the deep state. As far as the deep state is all these lifers that are in positions. It doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat. If you're a Democrat and you're a lifer in the government pushing paper, every once in a while your boy will be in office. Eventually, it's a given. So when your boy's not in office, they do everything they can to stonewall the opposite party. That's the deep state. People that have allegiances to the other party for the 4 years, they drag their feet. They don't do anything. You know, these people are going to be there after your 4 years or 8 years is up. They're still there. They're there 40 years. They're 60 years. Some of these people, they're entrenched. If you don't know how to operate inside the government and move paperwork, you can't get anything done. If anybody wants to stumble you, all they got to do is, hey, well, you didn't fill out form number 9932B, man. You know, what do you mean? How come nothing got done for the last 6 months? Well, I didn't see that form 9932B. That's what happens. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the deep state in conjunction with these other lettered agencies. So I don't know. You want the military? You think, I want you to think about what you want. You want the military to be in charge? You want the military to be in charge? Well, all I got to say to you is remember Abu Ghraib. You remember Abu Ghraib, Brandy? Remember all the pictures that came out of there?
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, it's not a person. It's a place. It's a prison. A bunch of pictures came out of there, what they did to those prisoners over there in Iraq. Okay, those same kind of people, I'm not saying everybody, I'm saying some people in the military are those people. And those people, they came home. Guess what? They're in law enforcement. They're working for contractors. They have no feeling and no care about human beings. The last
right, because we shut down. The trauma shut them down, and it never clicked back on.
The last thing you want, ladies and gentlemen, is the military anywhere near running your country. My name's Jimmy. Listen to the microcosm.
There must be some kind of way out of here. There's a joke to the thief. It's too much confusion. I can't get no relief. Businessmen, they drink my wine. Plowmen dig my earth. None of them along the line know what any of it's worth. reason to get excited. The thief he kindly spoke. There are many here among us who feel that life is but a joke. But you and I, we've been through all that, and this is not our fate. So let us not talk falsely now. The hour is getting late.
To Michael Hedges. One man, one guitar. May he rest in peace. Michael Hedges, check him out. My name's Jimmy, it's Into the Microcosm. We're dissecting the rag doll that's being formulated to use against people seeking the truth and seeking to find a better way, and trying to hack through some of these measures that are put down on us for being the working people.
Going to basically tear down the power structures that this evil cabal.
They're going to tear down the power structures. I mean, it sounds like such a beautiful idea, such a beautiful story, and so demoralizing beyond comprehension if it doesn't transpire or work out the way people think it's gonna. And I just, I feel real bad that, lots of people feel bad right now, and I can see why. I could see why, because when you believe in something and you put your faith in it, and you receive a disappointment, it's another level of that frustration I was talking about earlier. It's another way to be frustrated without any way to release the frustration or get any kind of satisfaction one way or the other. And so the thing is people in a constant perpetual state of not being able to get the satisfaction. It's total frustration, driving people insane. And then when you turn it around and have these people get radicalized from this information, and think that they need to take it upon themselves to do something because they don't see anything getting done by anybody else. That's when we get into the danger zone, and that's where we are right now. My name's Jimmy. It's Into the Microcosm.
Has built up.
Do you think behind closed doors before Twitter there was this kind of fanfare for Reagan? I mean, there has to have been some cultivated political allegiance in the past on which these folks have built.
There's lots of people who venerate Reagan as a great patriot, great American, great president, but this is certainly another level. I mean, people in the QAnon community revere Trump to almost on a spiritual level. They believe that he is, basically he has saved the country from certain destruction. They believe that actually if Hillary Clinton was elected president, it would be the end of the republic. And the only reason that didn't happen was because Trump, against all odds, won the office.
Do you have any concern that the work that you're doing, and now the work that I'm doing here, interviewing you, is heightening people's attention or interest in a way that's ultimately counterproductive?
Yeah, I'm always worried about that. But at the same time, I feel like we're living in an age where conspiracy theories are normalized more so than ever. They are sort of promoted at the highest levels of power, when it wasn't that long ago when conspiracy theories were the sort of the pastime of the powerless.
What? The pastime of the powerless is conspiracy theories.
Yeah, what?
That is a fantastic description. This information and the seeking of it and the searching of it of every minute of every day, the doom scrolling, the wasting of lives, man, let's listen to that again. I gotta hear that again. That was a mind blower. Here we go.
But at the same time, I feel like we're living in an age where conspiracy theories are normalized more so than ever. They are sort of promoted at the highest levels of power, when it wasn't that long ago when conspiracy theories were the sort of the pastime of the powerless.
And that's exactly what I was talking about, because as you learn about all this stuff, you get frustrated because you're powerless to do anything about it unless you go off the deep end, like the dude who made that movie. That's the only mark that dude ever made on the world is the fact that he killed his wife and his kid. His movie don't mean shit. And he was radicalized. Go watch it, okay? I'm not promoting it. You can see it for free, the whole thing. It's on Watch Documentaries for free. Type in A Gray State. Full movie. It's 129 minutes. You go watch it for yourself and you decide. That dude was radicalized, and there's a bunch of people right now that are radicalized, and if they don't calm down and watch out, you know, Trump ain't saving nobody, man. You don't save yourself, you're going down.
But I think that it's important. I think it's important to talk about conspiracy theories for that reason, but also because we're seeing, some conspiracy theory-driven extremism, and once people's lives are at risk, I think is certainly important and worth addressing.
And how would you assess the rehabilitation, the DMs that you get on Twitter from folks who say they are now forever lost to this cult? And has there been any successful intervention or rehabilitation?
There is a cult expert named Steve Hassan who deals with these issues, who's been exploring QAnon quite recently. He's helped people get out of other cults like Scientology.
Now it's being called a cult, ladies and gentlemen. It's being called a cult now, and Jim Jones was a cult. Lots of people believed in what Jim Jones had to say, and they drank the Kool-Aid, and they didn't get up the next day. Brandy, we ran out of time. We got to get out of here. Do you want to say goodbye? We got to go. Ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, y'all. Take good care. We'll see you next time, okay? Thanks for coming.
Ladies and gentlemen, get a hold of yourself. Take a look at this stuff. Man, I'm telling you, look at the stuff in a way, look at it with a fresh mind and listen to it and see what you think for yourself. Is any of this doing you any good?
In honor of the last American hero to whom speed means freedom of the soul. The question is not when we're gonna stop, but who's gonna stop it.
We're done. Okay, we're done. That's it.
Benito.
Yeah, all right. I'm trying to, oh, there it is. Sorry about that. I couldn't find my page there, so I couldn't see you guys over in the chat. So, we're done over on Revolution Radio. So we ran out of time, so I didn't get to finish there and say anything, let us out, so.
Did we ever get back on?
Yeah, we were on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I heard we couldn't get in, so well, that's good.
No, yeah. So I don't know. I haven't been paying attention to the chat. I was busy. So, did you guys want me to give you that article in here about Trump's wife's dad? Let me see here. I'll put the link in here real quick. Stand by. Yeah, so people, if you're on unemployment, they fucking totally fucked me, man. I mean, they're not just me, but a lot of people in California were screwed. No unemployment. Our unemployments didn't show up. And I don't know what the deal is with it. Hang on, I gotta open that page back up. So, hang on a second. I'm gonna get the studio page back open. I accidentally closed it. So anyway. Wait. Let me see here. Yeah, so they say if you're one of the people who got screwed on your unemployment, apparently they're not gonna have it fixed until April. I do, yeah. I do, but I don't. I'll put it in the show box after the show's over. I'll put it in that little thing underneath the show, because I don't have it. I'm not sure how to put it in here, so let me get it. It's Do you have it, Epic? Can you put it in there? Can you put my PayPal in there, Epic? Appreciate it. I don't have it, man. I don't know what it is. I mean, I never say anything. I mean, on here. So I just don't remember what it is, and yeah. So they say. So I'm not sure exactly what the gist of it is. I didn't hear about it. I just I'm supposed to get paid today, so I went down to try to get paid, and it wasn't there. And then I came home and I was pissed off, and my family member said, "Hey, well, you didn't hear about the it was on the news that there was some error or something. I'm not sure. A certain group of people is not going to be able to certify and get paid. So I mean, I don't know what's going to happen, but so I'll find out tomorrow, I guess, if anything's going to show up."
That's really scary.
I know.
Wow.
I know. Well, if Epic doesn't put my PayPal in the chat over here, I'll just do it after the show's over. If you guys feel like it.
He's looking.
Yeah, if you can. If you guys can.
I have an old one, but I don't
I only have one PayPal. I only have one. So anyhow, that's it. I don't want to drag that out, but I do have to go feed them dogs. Yeah, no, I know it does suck. Does suck, because right now trying to get a job is not really that good. It's not easy right now. It's a lot of weird stuff. I mean, because I live in California, so there's a lot of weird stuff about what's going on. So.
Wow.
Yeah, for some reason when people type that in, they don't get it. For some reason, it doesn't show up. If you type that in, you see a picture of me with sunglasses on, that's it. If you type in G3 Technology into PayPal and you see a picture of me with sunglasses on, that's it. But for some reason, people type that in, they say it doesn't show up.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm not sure if it works. If it doesn't work, I don't know. Like I said, when the show's over, I'll make sure I post it over there on the thing.
They could always email you too, couldn't they, Jimmy? To try to connect with you in between shows.
Yeah, so it's jimmygene27@gmail.com. All right, so yeah, that's it. G3 Technology at PayPal. Exactly. Okay. I feel stupid now. I wish I wouldn't have said anything. I'm kind of embarrassed again.
No, don't.
It's always embarrassing, man, for me.
No, we're here in this together, Jimmy, so don't. No, I know that nobody wants you to feel like that.
No, I know. I just. Hey, well, so it looks like we were in the. Let me see. We were in the top 18 when we were doing the show.
That's good. That really is. When you look at some of the other shows that are on there.
Yeah.
Know?
If it shows up with me with sunglasses, that's me. Okay, so Brandy, let's get going because I got to go feed these dogs. They wait all day for this moment when they're gonna get their food, and it's like I hate.
The cats are the same. They're prowling around outside the door here and going.
I hate making them wait. I really appreciate you guys being here during the show, and hopefully it was good. I mean, I'm a little spun out today. I mean, we didn't have a show, and we just kind of put that together literally on the fly, and I wasn't prepared. I didn't have anything prepared. You know, I wasn't really thinking about what we were going to talk about or anything, and so I don't even know how it came out. Hopefully it was a good show, and I really appreciate you guys being here and supporting us a lot. And
you guys make all the difference.
You do. And just so you know, the show seems to gotten a lot of really good reviews over at Aftermath Media. So, you know, people are sending me messages, you know. I get messages. I've been getting messages every day. The back end over at Aftermath is the best back end on a radio station I've ever seen. It's automated. It's really nice. It's really sweet. You know, and the people that are contacting me are people that are already paying members over there behind the paywall. So, I mean, you know, I'm not telling you guys, you know, to go over there and get behind the paywall just yet, you know. It's just cool that I can report back to you that people are, you know, new people that haven't heard the show before are stoked. And we're getting some good reviews, so that's always great. And so that'll keep us on good standing over there, good status over there with the network. So we're looking forward to it. We got a big show planned for this Thursday night, so we're going to be doing the show like a live recording like we did before here. You know, we'll do the live recording here with you guys, and then, you know, because we hate doing just a recording. So we'll come over here and do it with you guys, and then I'll chop it up and send it over there. And then
that energy makes all the difference.
It totally does.
Makes you part of it too, because it's just part of the ambiance and part of the organic, because we get the energy from you guys.
Yeah. Well, hopefully I wasn't too hopefully I wasn't too much of myself today, because I really kind of you know, I don't know. I don't even know what I said, to be honest. So let's see. I got to go back and listen to it and see. But hopefully
it was good. You did good, Jimmy.
Hopefully. All right, you guys. We're gonna get going.
Good night, everybody.
Gotta feed these dogs. Bye, Dirt. Engineer. See you, Zoe. Bye, DJ. See you, Lance. Bye, Marty. Really appreciate you being here, Marty. Bye, Zoe. Bye, regular girl. See you later, Rusty Swords. Let me see who else. Epic Tournament. Are you there? All right. We'll see you guys later.